How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the 606. I'm your host, as always, SESvince, joined by my good friend Basharat. How's it going, Bosh?
Good, man. Melting in this heat wave, but otherwise pretty good. All things, considered. Good times. We're into July, middle of summer, concert season in full swing. And I am ready. I came with the shirt. I watched all 3 episodes that dropped of X-Men 97. I am so excited and ready to talk about this. Let's do it.
We're actually going to be here talking about all the NBA trades that's been happening since we last recorded, and just all the craziness that's been going on with all of that. Obviously, the New York Knicks winning the championship after 53 years must have broke the simulation that all those rich kids that we were talking about that are plugged into. Like, something happened because all these NBA franchises are making trades that are like on 2K level. Like, it's this type of thing that makes no sense. I have 3 point guards on the team. I'm going to trade for another one, and I'm going to send my only front court help that I have. Stuff like that, Bosh. We're gonna just address all this craziness, and to help, we're gonna be using Spotrac to make sure that we have everything up to par, and just keep on the notifications just in case Shams drops a notification mid-show. But that's what we're here to talk about.
That's good because it's crazy. I barely was even able to keep track of everything because I worked. Yesterday? I worked like 13 hours, came home, and then of course, did my prep by watching X-Men 97. So I barely jumped on socials and just saw a lot of the crazy stuff over the last couple of days because my work week runs like Sunday through Wednesday.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that I may not even, who knows what I missed here. So I'm excited to go down. Have not really had a chance to properly react either here on the pod or even on social media to a lot of the stuff that's happened. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. But before we do that, I do want to remind everyone that if you are new here, welcome to the 606, obviously. But go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. Turn on the bell notification, like this videos, and just so you know when we drop a brand new episode. We usually drop them every Saturdays over at Wallet Media and over here on the 606 channel. But we're also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, amongst other platforms. Make sure you check us out over there. That being said, let's head on over to Spotrac and see what you've missed or might not have missed, Bosh, because I like that you came prepared for this. So we're going to start things off with the latest big trade, and the one that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, Bosh. What were your first initial reactions? I don't know if I broke the news to you or not. I always text you when things happen, and I don't know if I never know if I'm always like your Shams. Am I your Woj that breaks things for you, or you already know this and you're just like, oh, Vince already told me things I already know.
Sometimes, but I think this one, and usually I'm on Blue Sky or something, so I see it. So I was just on social media, I think, scrolling through these and everybody's reactions to it when you texted me about it also. I think I'd known about it for a little while at that point because I don't remember exactly when this happened. Either I had just gotten out of work or I was on a break and I was checking my phone or something. But yeah, I saw it come through. And it was wild, dude. Out of all the places for the rival Celtics and Sixers to make this trade, and then on top, and the fact that they just played each other in the playoffs. Yeah. So just so much delicious detail in this trade.
Yeah, so let's unpack it here, guys. Because Jaylen Brown is going to be heading over to the Philadelphia 76ers in exchange for 36-year-old Paul George, 28 first-round pick, which has the right to swap. So it's this Clippers pick that if it falls within the range, they get it. If not, then it's a swap with San Antonio because they have previous dibs with it. It's a convoluted thing. It's a weird setup, but it's something. And they have an unprotected pick in 2031 from Philadelphia. Second round swap between the most favorable option between Golden State, OKC, and Milwaukee.
The second rounders are straight up, but they're ones that have been traded previously, so they're like one of the most favorable.
For sure. So
that Clippers pick, funny enough, is the one they got for trading James Harden to the Clippers.
Correct.
Pick, so.
So we'll see, because it's it's not the worst return, obviously, but I'm still just kind of like flabbergasted as to what's going on here with Boston and why you would go ahead and trade Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia of all places. Like I was fully expecting the Jaylen Brown trade, especially once he was thrown into like the Giannis sweepstakes. But if you knew you were gonna trade Jaylen Brown regardless, why not just kind of give Milwaukee or Giannis what they wanted to guarantee that? Because that team would have been way more better with Giannis versus Paul George. Like, what were your thoughts when you heard about this, and what are your thoughts now, like almost 24 hours removed?
Yeah, just it's still pretty crazy. What's really funny also, there's so many funny things about this, honestly. I mean, for one thing, it's a very Daryl Morey-like move by the Sixers, who have just fired Daryl Morey.
Yeah,
because Morey's whole thing is acquire stars no matter what, pair them together, and then make it all. It'll work out later because getting a star is the hardest part in his opinion. So his philosophy is always just accumulate them and then not worry about fit or personalities or any of that, and deal with it later. So that's kind of it was kind of amusing to me. But then on top of it, again, the way that Philly beat the Celtics in the playoffs after being down 3-1 is that Paul George played spectacularly, which is funny, and then also and also because Jaylen Brown, his little go-to move that he's become like kind of notorious for over the past 2 seasons, he's just gotten worse and worse. So many players in the NBA do it, but Jaylen's one of the absolute biggest offenders, because it's the off arm. As you're driving offensively, he pushes people off with the off arm, and then it's a clear offensive foul because he's actually pushing them, like shoving them. It's not even holding people up, which is like, I think, holding them off a little bit, which is, I think, questionable as it is a little bit. But he's like full out extension, just shoving them, just straight shoving people out the way all the time on drives. And the really funny thing is the Sixers were celebrating. Kelly Oubre was clapping and rubbing it in, and because the refs started calling him for it over and over, and the Sixers would just start pointing at him, and like every time he did it, it was just a whole thing. So it's really funny, and he's pretty salty about it. Like he talked about it on the stream later on. So this is all kinds of amusing to me. That's like one of the big reasons they were able to make that comeback, is that Jaylen was able to use that off-arm move. And to top it off, a lot of the Sixers fans who, and podcasters who I do kind of follow, because I have a bit of a Sixers interest, they were gloating about the fact that not only was Brown being called for this, but it's more noticeable with Jaylen, because he often does it not just on the drive, but because he's not that great of a ball handler, and he's losing the ball a lot of times. So as he's losing the ball on a drive, because he's like, his handle isn't as tight as most stars are. And so as he's losing the ball, his move to keep somebody from poking it away is to shove them away with the off arm. So it's even, and they were all just Sixers fandom and podcasters, media were talking about this. So it's, again, funny that he winds up there. Not to say that he's not a good player. He's a very good player. And this is a great move for the Sixers. And it's just unfathomable to me, like you said, they didn't want to make the Giannis deal because the Bucks wanted not just Jaylen, but they also wanted like a pick or two plus 2 of their young guys, like Hugo Gonzalez. And
I heard that supposedly they did include picks, and that the hang up was Hugo Gonzalez
and Gonzalez. So you're telling me that the difference between Giannis Antetokounmpo and Paul George to the Boston Celtics is a couple picks from that are coming from Philly and Hugo Gonzalez? Like, that's insane. That's crazy. At this point, like you said, why not just make the Giannis deal?
Right. Like, listen, like, we might be wrong. The Boston might know something we don't. Hugo Gonzalez might be like the next Denny Advia secretly, and they're the only ones that know it. Who knows, honestly?
Well, that's even better. It's even better. Look at the Celtics roster now, because I think they signed like Mitchell Robinson, right? And they picked up who else did they pick up? I'm forgetting. There's so many moves that happened. In this,
they picked up Mike Conley.
Thank you. They picked up Conley.
Yeah, I think
they're not quite done yet. Yeah.
It's just Conley that they picked up.
So they have, let's say, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Paul George, who am I forgetting? Mitchell Robinson, I guess.
Yes.
And I don't know. Well, I guess one more.
Currently, they have Paul George, Mitchell Robinson, Ron Harper Jr., Mike Conley. Those are the new additions, along with Chris Sinnott Jr., who they picked up in the draft. Tatum, Derek White, Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, Hugo Gonzalez, Luka Garza, and then a bunch of names that I don't.
Well, so that fifth starter basically is either going to be Pritchard or Conley, most likely, right? A guard,
It's going to be Pritchard.
Right. So like,
there's reports now that supposedly that the Celtics feel that Peyton Pritchard next season is going to take a Jalen Brunson leap, when he went from Dallas to New York.
He had already taken that leap in Dallas, like in the playoffs. We already saw that.
Yeah,
this is insanity. Basically, my point being that the guys that they were holding out of that Giannis deal, particularly Hugo Gonzalez and even Shireman, are not going to even start for the Celtics next year. So those are the guys that they wouldn't give up, and they're bench players. Like, it's kind of nuts.
Oh, also, I can't remember how to pronounce their center's name too. Neemias Queta. There you go. That he's probably going to be their day one starter, because I don't think Mitchell Robinson should be starting for you in the year 2026. He's just not healthy.
Yeah, he's not really. He can't play that many minutes. He's not healthy enough. So you're right. He shouldn't really be.
I mean, Paul George is going to listen. The big question here is Paul George going to be healthy? And
no, it's even funnier than I'm sorry. The amusement of this trade just goes on and on to me. I mean, right. I am like luxuriating in the anger and disappointment of Celtics fans because fuck Boston. Particularly
fuck
their more
Boston.
famous ones. Yeah,
it's always fuck Boston around here. And if there's Boston Celtics fans in here, we're sorry. We love you guys.
I'm sorry, guys.
But it's still fuck.
But not sorry.
but not.
but it's so. That's all well and good, but yeah, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the point I was going to get to make, but I'll have to think about that one again.
Yeah, all the guys, they're not even going to be starting.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like a vote of no confidence almost in Jason Tatum. I don't get it, because you think like doing this move is almost to accumulate the picks. Like just were a 50+ win team, second place in the East, second in the East in the regular season without Tatum healthy. Now Tatum's healthy, and you trade Brown, but not even for an upgrade. This is the best part to me, is you just mentioned, the 35-year-old, I guess, 36, 35.
36-year-old Paul
36-year-old Paul George, who again, I actually like him a lot, and I thought he did really well. He came up in the playoffs and at least in round one against the Celtics. And
it's crazy that this is the same guy that was rumored to be traded for in exchange for Jaylen Brown maybe like 6-7 years ago when he was in Indiana.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, when it was either him or Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. Or Anthony Davis. There were so many names that they wouldn't trade Jaylen Brown for.
And I think for good reason. They eventually won a championship. The Jaylen Brown Jason Tatum combo was really good. And the funny thing here is, like, his contract he gets like he has a supermax, right? So he's getting paid like $57 million a year or whatever.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, maybe they're getting out early in case like he starts falling off. But he's got like 2 years left on that deal, I believe.
No, Jaylen Brown there's 3 years on that contract, so he's going to be on that contract till the end of 2029. And
so
then
one more year than Paul George.
One more year than Paul George, assuming he picks up his player option for next season, because it will be a player option.
Yeah,
obviously he's going to pick it up. $56 million player option, unless he does like the James Harden thing, where he doesn't pick up the player option and then signs for like a longer term contract, like 2-3 years for a shorter per year, but more overall salary.
But that then, if you're getting out early, you're furious that he becomes what? Paul George on that contract is basically, you got out early in order to turn his contract into what you were afraid his contract will become.
It makes no sense, honestly. And given the rumors and like speculated trades that were out and available for. Like you looked at Atlanta as a possible destination. You could have had that 8th pick if salary, if draft capital is what you're looking for. You could have had that, maybe some other cap fillers as well. Maybe take a flyer on Zachary Arisa-Shea. If you look at the Clippers, like I think I would have rather had Kawhi Leonard than Paul George if you're going to trade Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
that was out there.
I think the hang up there was the teams were offering more because Kawhi said he would be willing to extend only in San Antonio, and Toronto. But no, I get your point. Like definitely, maybe make the pitch to Kawhi's people.
Then it's like the Portland trade. The Portland trade where you could have gotten the combination of like bring back Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, maybe Shaedon Sharpe, and some other draft capital. Maybe the hang up there was Donovan Clingan, who they probably wanted a center, but they had just signed Mitchell Robinson. So, like, I'm sure you could have flipped Scoots or anyone else for that center. Like, I don't know. I just like maybe I'm very low on Paul George, but I think this is a very horrible trade for Boston. I think this is a very moronic trade. And if it wasn't for the Luka Doncic trade 2 years ago, this would go down as one of the dumbest trades of a superstar.
I definitely think so. It's so inexplicable. Now I actually like PG a lot more. I think he did have a down year, but he shot really well from 3, and the one, especially in the playoffs, I believe.
Okay,
and the one thing the Boston Celtics do, and that they want to do, is just shoot fucking threes, right?
That's fair.
Yeah, he'll fit with that system very well.
No, he won't have any issue fitting into the system and like playing into that role and like deferring to Jason Tatum and be that number 2 guy. But my question to you is, was his production in the playoffs only a byproduct of him having to deal with that suspension and being more fresh?
Oh, definitely. I think it definitely was. And I think in Boston, what you do is you just ask him to take that supplement again next year. Make sure. Get that salary cut down.
Yeah, take that.
That's another thing. The Sixers benefited from when he got suspended. That salary being removed from the cap, the amount of games that he was suspended for, that allowed them to dip under. So maybe they asked him to do that.
I don't know. I'm really starting to doubt Brad Stevens' ability to build a contender ever since he blew up the championship team that he had. Like in hindsight,
but then at the time you thought like, okay, he blew up this team, and now they're still a 50-win team, and he got like stuff, and they got out of the luxury tax hell that they were in. I'm like, wow, maybe he's like even smarter than we thought he was. But now it's in the end that team was less.
No. Then you flip Anthony Simons for Nikola Vucevic. He was gonna like as Bulls fans, we could have told you he wasn't gonna help you in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like he was not like. Honestly,
forget help them. They stopped playing him. They couldn't play him.
He got DNPs. Like you would have think. Like honestly, I was watching that Celtics series against the 76ers, and I'm like, they could have really used a guy like Anthony Simons. The guy they just traded Vooch for, and then Vooch goes back to Orlando. That's the only thing we're going to talk about with that thing. But yeah,
I do have one more funny note just because you brought that up. Mm-hmm. Have you seen where Anthony Simons signed?
Philadelphia. Glad you mentioned it, because now the Philadelphia 76ers roster, and they also signed Dean Wade as well. So shout out to them. They picked up Dean Wade. Looks like he might be slotted in as their starting power forward, maybe.
I mean, he could be off the bench also, like a very multi-school.
So let's unpack that. We looked at the Celtics roster. Let's look at the Philadelphia 76ers roster. So you have
what a win for them. They were looking at basically 2 years of what people called, regardless of the fact that I thought Paul George played well in the playoffs, and despite being massively overpaid, was like a pretty good fit for their roster. He was considered a dead contract, dead money that you would have to attach.
Worst contract in the league. Honestly.
They did attach picks, but they didn't just attach picks to get off his contract. They attached picks and got Jaylen Brown, a young star to pair with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. I mean, what a win for turning that roster around. I bet Daryl Morey is so mad. If he could have stuck around a couple of weeks, I would have made that deal.
And then what's crazy is that the next trade we're going to talk about is essentially a sign and trade, but we'll get to it once we finish unwrapping this. So you mentioned Anthony Simons. They also signed Dean Wade. They are adding Jaylen Brown to the roster. They drafted LeBaron Philon Jr., who I really like. So that could be a guard off the bench to play alongside Simons. You have Joel Embiid. You have Paul George. And sorry, not Paul George. It still has him as the active roster.
Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about that for a while.
Yeah. Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe,
Jaylen Brown. Yeah.
Jaylen Brown. Dalen Terry's on there. But now the issue is that I'm looking at all this. They lost Kelly Oubre Jr. They lost Quentin Grimes.
Yeah. I think Oubre especially is a tough one. I don't know what he signed for. I just saw like a brief passing mention that he went to the Pacers, which is I think a good pickup for them.
Yeah, I think it is.
I would love to see him play for Carlisle, but I don't know what he signed for because I feel like Simons is a 2-year, $12.3 million deal. So like 6 point something a year. I think Kelly probably signed for less than that. I would have rather kept Kelly Oubre. I don't know. Yeah,
definitely, for sure. I mean, I think they definitely need front court help. They need someone to back up Joel Embiid. But I will say this.
I think they got the other Knicks backup bench big, didn't they? Well, I'm forgetting his name.
I'm looking. Johnny Brome? No, Adam Bona? Those are the only additions I'm seeing.
No, Janai Broom was the Sixers draft pick.
Oh, Ariel.
Thank you, Ariel Hukporti.
There you go.
Ariel Hukporti, they signed away. So, and a lot of people were kind of mentioning that maybe the Knicks can like let Mitchell Robinson go and kind of like just give Hukporti that spot that he might be ready to like play more minutes as backup big behind Towns. And so that's a good shot. So from what people were saying, I don't personally have an opinion on Hukporti. I don't think he play enough to have one. But from the way Knicks fans have been reacting to him, I think that this seems like a good pickup, like a good shot for Philly under to back up. And
they should definitely look at someone like maybe.
I mean, Mitchell Robinson, if they had been able to get him.
No, he's going to Boston.
No. Had they been able to, that would have been great because Mitchell Robinson is like borderline starter type of center, but like
listen.
Much, so.
We have a Patrick Williams, we have a Jalen Smith. If they want to take flyers, Zach
they definitely should take a flyer on Jalen Smith. I think a lot of teams should take a flyer on Jalen Smith. I think he would help out a great many teams in particular. So Jalen Smith, I think. If teams are paying attention to the type of kind of on-off plus-minus minutes that he's had and the sort of fit as a stretch big who has decent defense, I think he would fit a lot of these newly constructed teams.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. But 76ers, they have a nice big four in Brown, Edgecombe, Maxey, Embiid. They have some players in Dean Wade and, like you mentioned, LeBaron Philon Jr., but not much else. That's a very weak bench, so they're gonna definitely have to look into that. Let's move on to the other trade that happened the same day. It's a sign-in trade. Walker Kessler is going to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for a 2028 first-round pick swap, a 2030 first-round pick swap, a 2031 unprotected pick, and a 2033 unprotected pick to the Utah Jazz. The Lakers
probably not so valuable because at least the 2028 one, you would think that the Lakers should be ahead of the Jazz.
But
those two unprotected picks. I think this is basically like the package they offered for Mark Williams after they made the Luka trade, but then got embarrassed because everybody was making fun of them, so they pretended his medicals were the reason they backed out of that trade. I think it's basically that package, but that's all the pick equity they had. I mean, other than like a 30, 20, 32 pick swap, I don't know. They can't really offer.
They only have, I think, a one pick swap anything like that. But like for the next 7 years, they don't have any control of their future draft capital, which I guess is good for them because the Lakers got like handed a gimme by getting Cameron Carr with the 24th overall pick.
Don't remind me.
So I mean, they did other moves as well. The Lakers did, and
also kind of baffling moves, but yeah,
like some of them, I'm like, okay, but like when you look at them as a whole, I'm just kind of curious as to why. So you have Austin Reeves, you sign him, you have Walker Kessler now, Quentin Grimes. It's a nice little pickup. He's Sandro Mamo.
Yeah. Mamoukelashvili is somebody like people were crying for Toronto to play more and more. And in several stops that he's been at, people were thinking, give this guy minutes. But then Toronto kind of didn't really play him in the playoffs at all when they kind of needed somebody at that spot.
Ironically enough, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how great he's going to be. I guess maybe they see something in him. But this is, Nate Duncan, I think, made this point on Dunked On about this trade, is that so instead of giving up these only draft assets that you have left, that you had left to build around Luka Doncic going forward, literally nothing else but a 2032 pick swap left, to offer to teams, and I guess Cameron Carr. But you would think that Cameron Carr is one of the players that they're hoping for their roster,
right,
as a fit around Luka. So they got nothing but that 2032 pick swap. If you were going to give up all of your remaining assets, why not just try to just overpay Kessler to the point that Utah would match him, max it, and then you still at least have your picks, and then you don't sign Mamoukelashvili or whatever, oh no, I mean,
yeah, this honestly just kind of feels and reeks of a little bit of desperation. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the fit of Walker Kessler on the Lakers. I think it's a great, fantastic fit. But I think that you're paying him. And then you gave those unprotected picks is what scares me, because in 2031, 2033, you might not have a Luka Doncic on this team. And you kind of did that for a guy that, while is a fantastic center and a fantastic fit and complement to this team, is now being paid like a top 10 center in the league, when I don't even think he's ever going to make an
offer about the payment. I'm looking at it like you've given up everything left that you had to build around Luka. So this guy now needs to be your third best player, basically.
And then I don't even think Austin Reeves is good enough to be a secondary option. Yeah. No, he should be maybe honestly, I think Austin Reeves, best case scenario, he's your sixth man coming off the bench, a scoring punch. I don't think best case scenario, it should be third option.
Well, and they got Quentin Grimes, who I like, and then they added Colin Sexton and Sandro Mamoukelashvili. Okay, instead of doing that, couldn't you have? I don't know if they had offered LeBron more, would he have stayed? They're losing Rui Hachimura, who shot
that's the big one. It's instead of giving this money to Mamu and Sexton, I think I would have rather given that money to Rui Hachimura, who kind of fits that role that PJ Washington played for, had with Luka Doncic in Dallas. So it's listen, again, my big issue is that if this is what you're giving up, you should be giving that up for an all-star caliber center,
or the final piece, right?
Or a final piece, like the Knicks did with Mikal Bridges,
right?
Or what they did to acquire a Karl Anthony Towns. So, or an OG Anunoby. Unless they flip an Austin Reeves for someone and uses his giant salary, but now they don't have the draft capital. So I don't know. It's a little confusing. And then you look at the rest of the roster. Obviously, they got Luka Doncic. They have Jordan Vanderbilt. DeAndre Ayton picked up his option, so he's back. There's rumors that they might just...
They keep giving player options to everybody for no reason. And it was obvious he was going to pick up his option. He has no other market around the league. So
So there's rumors that they might waive and stretch him to have a little bit more flexibility. But honestly, I don't even know if that's a smart thing to do. You got Jake LaRavia, you have Dalton Connect, you have Bronny James. Ironically enough, LeBron waited until his son's contract became fully guaranteed for him to announce that he's leaving the Lakers. I kind of like that. He did that. And then obviously Cameron Carr. So, I mean, unless you package a Cameron Carr and Austin Reeves and Bronny James and that 32 swap,
I don't see a lot here. It's
who knows? Maybe they'll be better than we expect.
Defense. You need a big guy around, a better big man for Luka. But this was an overpay in terms of the assets that you had remaining. It's not like you're
Mhm.
flush with draft picks and you could just
Yeah.
afford to do this. And I think it would have been better if they overpaid in money rather than draft picks. But
Yeah,
it
same
is what
here.
it is. Yeah.
Same here. Let's move on. We have the Kawhi Leonard trade. He is back in
Which is like,
Toronto.
this was like, what? Kind of like,
Is it
seriously,
2019?
dude.
Is it 2019? So
It's reverse 2019.
once again, Toronto acquires Kawhi Leonard for a draft
For
capital
Dick.
and Grady Dick, and then Brandon Ingram was the contract that they threw in there. If I'm Toronto, and then they extended Toronto for and the Toronto Raptors did Kawhi Leonard, so he's there until the end of the 2029 season.
Yeah.
So they got 3 years of Kawhi, and then you gave up your 2027 swap, which it's not a big issue because you expect to be good, and then also the 2027 draft does look to be a little bit weaker than the 26 edition.
This is a point. Thank you for mentioning that, because I've been meaning to make this point. I would have, if any team, including the Sixers, by the way, because they gave up the 2028, I believe. But even that draft is not all that highly regarded now. I think once you're like 2 years away, it's a little early to say that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We have kind of seen that kind of trend of like, okay, a couple down years, possibly coming up draft wise. So maybe that pick, even if it is high, has less value, will have less value at the time than we think, it normally would. So I think teams that do have these sort of picks before the league kind of gets wise to it, I would probably deal those 2027 picks while they
but also too, I think it might be a situation where, again, you're seeing it right here, 2031, 2033 unprotected pick. Now, this current lottery format, if I'm not mistaken, I think the cutoff to like kind of like reset, reconvene to like change it up, they have this opt-out clause essentially in 2029. Ironically enough, all these unprotected picks are being traded out in that time span because nobody really wants to like trade the picks in between this new draft rules format timeline from like 27 all the way to 29. These next 3 to 4 years, nobody really wants to go ahead and do that because we don't really know what it's going to look like. So I think a lot of teams are also weary, but also a lot of teams are also just kind of like, okay, so they're weariness on both sides because you don't want to trade for it because you don't really know what it's going to be. And then you don't want to trade it because, again, you don't know what it's going to be. So I think after this season and then after this draft lottery, where like everything from 1 through 16 is done through the lottery odds, I think once they get at least one season in, I think you'll see more of those 28, 29, and 30 picks being traded. But that's why I feel like we see so many trades. And I think it's been like maybe like 3 or 4 trades so far where it's future picks in the 30s. I don't know. Is this also something you've picked up on?
Yeah. Again, I think also this always holds true that executives are like, all right, picks more than 4 or 5 years out at that point, they're not concerned about. You don't even know if you're going to be there anymore. So at that point, you're ready to sell. So you don't know if you're going to be there. You also don't know what the draft order kind of rules are going to be at that point, the lottery rules, if there will be, what they will be. So they're a little bit less concerned about that. On the other hand, if you are a team with a long-term outlook, then you are valuing picking up in many of those because they could be great. And I think this works out really well for the Clippers. I think
this works out well for both teams. In contrast to the last 2 trades we talked about, I think this makes sense for both teams. I think if you're the Toronto Raptors, you realize that you were a really good team in the playoffs, but unfortunately, Brandon Ingram like plateaued and was almost like one of the reasons why you guys lost. Obviously, like front court depth and like ball handling and perimeter, like didn't have a go-to scorer. So they addressed one of those issues in the go-to scorer in Kawhi Leonard, because as great as Scottie Barnes is, I think he shouldn't be your number one option, And I'm not saying he can't be a number one option. I just think that he's better as, no pun intended, he should be in the Scottie Pippen type role versus the Michael Jordan type role. He should be your 1A to it, like the
well,
one.
Yeah, and also like
the 1A.
He's great on ball, but you kind of like individual shot creation, giving that to Kawhi Leonard for tough situations, for playoffs, at the end of the clock, I think is better than giving it to Barnes. And will help Scotty Barnes.
And then on top of that, you look at a guy like Grady Dick, who was getting DMPs and was completely out of their rotation towards the tail end of the season and into the playoffs. So you're essentially swapping out a guy that was just warming up a seat on your bench and Brandon Ingram for a better version of what you wanted Brandon Ingram to be on this team. And yes, you give up two unprotected picks, but at that point in time, like, especially if you get to a championship, it might be worth it.
It's not like Ingram is Mikal Bridges, playing 82 games a year either. So it's not like they're, it's not like the health benefit.
Exactly. So the health is almost on par, if not just slightly better. But again, now you look at a team that has Kawhi Leonard, Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, if he can get healthy, which I still like on the team, honestly. RJ Barrett, that's a good thing. They were as bad as Jakob Poeltl has been recently. He's really your only like guy with size on your team, and you should really keep him and then to try to address a better upgrade at the center position. But you have RJ Barrett, who I think is a really good complementary piece, or a guy that can be flipped to maybe get that center or a starting caliber point guard. Jakob Poeltl, as I mentioned, Colin Murray Boyles, you were able to retain on this trade, which reportedly was one of the guys that the Clippers wanted to be included in this trade and didn't actually want Ingram. So they probably had to give up the draft capital versus a Colin Murray Boyles. But I think he helps because he's able to play the 4. He's able to play the backup 5. In the meantime, he was playing
limited, in the playoffs too. So.
Yeah. And then now their draft pick of Allen Graves, actually, I fucking love for this team because now they look like, okay, now it makes sense to have an Allen Graves on your team, a guy that can play the forward position for you. This is perfect. And then you go ahead and then you have Jacoby Walker as well. You have I can't remember who they picked up. I'm trying to see who they might have.
Well, they got Kyle Lowry on his retirement tour, I think.
No, that's not official. That was just
that they can't. Yeah, it can't.
Official
yet.
So I'm looking. I can't remember who they picked up. But I could have sworn they picked. Oh, Kyle Anderson. That's who they picked up.
Right. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. That is. Yeah. So many things have been scrolling by on the screen. This has been a crazy couple of days.
So you have a team that has Quickley, has Barrett, has Kawhi, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl, Colin Murray Boyles, now Kyle Anderson with Allen Graves, and you have Jacoby Walker. So you have pieces here. You have pieces here.
Yeah. No, I think actually Toronto is now a very scary team, dude. They have Kawhi Leonard who they can kind of guide through the regular season. They don't need him to, go all out the way that they did in their championship run. They will have a Kawhi Leonard for the playoffs. You think that they have had some experience in trying to keep a player like this healthy before and keep him ready for a playoff run. So I think in the East, all of a sudden, dude, the East is a very unpredictable place,
that's kind of like the thing I was gonna say. It's like you look at the West and it's just like a 2-team race, in my opinion, right now, with like maybe 1 or 2 wild cards in there. But the Eastern Conference is a fucking crapshoot. Thank God the Knicks won, because it's gonna be a dogfight to get back to the finals, because we talked about Philadelphia, we talked about Toronto. And then we haven't even like Boston is.
And Boston won 50 plus games without Tatum, so they have Tatum back now. And despite the fact that they lost Brown, you're still thinking like, okay, you can't discount them. They've got Tatum back on this team that was awesome. By the way, one of the big controversies around Jaylen Brown was that last year, and this was kind of misstated, I believe, by I think Bobby Marks on ESPN. He said, Jaylen Brown, was analytically looked at as like they were negative in his minutes. That's not actually true. That's not true. That's not analytically. He misquoted, or somebody told him misinformation. Because I remember this all through last year. It was a big talking point throughout the year, particularly when Brown's MVP case was being pitched. The Celtics weren't negative in his minutes. The Celtics were more positive when he wasn't playing. So they were still outscoring teams in Jaylen Brown's minutes. And you have to balance out the fact that Jaylen Brown was playing like more high leverage minutes against the other team starters and whatnot. So it's not that's not actually a thing.
Yeah. And then I don't think that's just a fair thing, honestly. Like I feel like the criticisms of Jaylen Brown is a little unfair. I think he's still a very good player, and like I mean,
if you go back to the old version of the previous podcast we used to do, I don't know if you remember this, but that first time, actually, the very first time you ever had me on was for like an All-Star preview, and it was right before Tatum really broke out as the second half of that year. It was the year that the Celtics started kind of terribly, then they turned things around, and then I think they went to the conference finals or finals that year. I can't remember, but I was actually saying at that time in that year that I thought Jaylen Brown should have been their All-Star at the All-Star break over Tatum.
There's a little
I was more positive.
Information.
I've been positive about him for a while, and I think he's been a really good player. Now, despite the fact that I just made fun of him earlier, or alluded to the fact that Philly fans were making fun of him for losing the ball and pushing the ball hard. He's still a great player, man. I think it's very, like you said, very undervalued and kind of misappreciated, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Let's look at LA's side of things, because I think the Clippers have done a really good job to like retool and reset this roster, because now you have a backcourt of Darius Garland and Keaton Wagler. You have Brandon Ingram. You still have guys like Derrick Jones Jr. You still have they lost John Collins. They still have the option to bring back Benedict Mathurin. Bradley Beal's probably gone. They have some guys. They have Brook Lopez on the team. So you were able to go ahead and get some value in exchange for your guys. You know, you got something out of Harden. You got something out of Ivica Zubac. And
you got something great out of Ivica Zubac. Yeah. Number 5 pick in the draft. So hopefully Keaton Wagler lives up to that.
Yeah.
Now you have additional picks coming in for Kawhi. And it's not like you completely lost that roster spot. You have Brandon Ingram in there, and you've got a shot at the future, a guard potential in Grady Dick to develop. So the Clippers come away well, and they don't care about bottoming out. They don't have their pick anyway.
It doesn't matter. I mean, they still got guys like Kobe Sanders, Chris Dunn, Isaiah Jackson, and not to mention, like, they can still flip guys like Derrick Jones Jr. or Brook Lopez, because it doesn't look like they want to completely bottom out, like you mentioned. Like they're gonna like prioritize develop. But now this is essentially a team that you're building around Keaton Wagler, which I'm very excited for the kid. Hopefully he proves us right in our like positive takes on him, and he just has a really good rookie season. Let's move on to what else we have here. A small little trade here. Devin Carter gets shipped off from the Kings to the Atlanta Hawks. That's a really nice pickup. I
just saw this while we were talking. I was scrolling through ESPN. I had no idea. I'm just like, I find it really funny again that the Kings draft these players and then just like
flip them for nothing.
Immediately give up on them, or flip them like Tyrese Halliburton, or give up on them like who's the kid who wound up in Miami eventually. Their previous guard they had picked before Devin Carter. Now Devin Carter immediately got off of him again, and he was a pick who I didn't want. I didn't want the Bulls to take that spot. I think that was the modest draft. Is that correct? Because he was heavily rumored that the Bulls and Kings, two like-minded teams, were both going after him. And I definitely don't want Devin Carter. Not because he's terrible or anything, but it was the 11th pick, and I thought a small guard with limited offensive potential and more defensive upside was not really worth the lottery pick at that point. But they did, and yet immediately gave up on him again.
It makes no sense considering the fact that I know you just drafted Darius Acuff Jr., but why the fuck can't he be the backup? Like, why can't he? it makes no sense.
Well, again, and like his upside was like as a defensive player. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Like so
it's not the same thing.
You can
he
stagger
play
the minutes.
him.
You can alongside him or stagger the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Moving on.
Weird give up, especially because it's like this isn't like Philly. It's not a different front office, right? So
no. It's the same people. Yeah. Oh my god. Anyways, speaking of point guards, John Morant got traded finally, and he went to the Portland Trailblazers.
Oh man, I was so busy working. I meant to make this note. This was the what was it called? The kind of challenge, the point guard triangle of death. It was like, it was which of these 3 point guards is going to be traded, and are they going to be traded for each other? People were constantly like proposing swaps back and forth of like, that they should trade with each other. And it was Trey Young in Atlanta, and it was John Morant in Memphis, and it was LaMelo Ball in Charlotte. Well, here we are. All 3 have actually been traded. None of them for each other, though. And the one who got the most value, if you went back in time and told us this at that time, would sound crazy, was LaMelo Ball. Like the other 2 got no value, which is amazing.
Yeah, speaking of the value, Memphis received Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. They're loaded up in the front court now. And they don't have a point guard.
No, go ahead.
They don't have a point guard. I'm trying to figure out what they're going to be doing.
Do they still have Scottie Pippen Jr.? I think they do, right?
Yeah, they do.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah, so let's unpack it real quick from Memphis side of things. So Isaiah Stewart got picked up. They picked up AJ Johnson. Now they have Jeremy Grant. I think they still have KCP on the team. Santi Aldama, Ty Jerome, Taylor Hendricks, Zach Edey, Cedric Howard, Chris Murray now, Walker Kessler Jr., Tosh Gibson's on the team, I guess. Scottie Pippen Jr., Cam Boozer, Kareem Lopez, and Richie Saunders that they picked up. I don't think they have a starting caliber.
I mean, between Scottie Pippen Jr., AJ Johnson was a guy who in Dallas seemed like maybe he's worth a shot.
Ty Jerome.
Yeah, Ty Jerome definitely. But he's more of a scoring guard, right? So more like a shooting guard.
Which I guess kind of like
combo guard.
Now, like don't get me wrong, I love what Memphis Grizzlies did in the draft, but like you traded a point guard for 2 front court pieces, and your 2 big draft picks were front court pieces.
I mean, it's not that they didn't trade for a front court piece here. They traded to get off of John Morant,
which again,
the cost of which was just taking on Jeremy Grant's contract. And what they're probably hoping is as Jeremy Grant's contract goes on and there's less money on it, maybe they can, or they can take on a worse contract than Jeremy Grant. Then maybe a team will give them, a draft pick for doing around the deadline or next offseason.
Hey, if they want to offer some draft compensation, Trey Jones is available on the Bulls.
Actually, I was going to mention Trey Jones for another team, but no, I think the idea here is that they use Jeremy Grant's contract as matching salary for another team and take on a worse contract in order to get draft compensation.
Yeah.
I guess they're building for the future. They're rebuilding for the future around Boozer and Edey.
Which I'm glad. They just wanted to move off of the Ja contract, and to me this kind of feels kind of like when you do a garage sale and you just want the stuff out of the house, so you just basically giving it away for free essentially, or just $1, $5 or something on
well, because they want to focus, they've dismantled that team. That team is over. It kind of lived out its timeline. That coach is gone. They're all-star center, defensive player of the year caliber, power forward is gone. Their shooting guard, all-star shooting guard is long gone. And so they just want to be done with that time. And especially with Ja, kind of taking up the oxygen in the room. And they want to focus on guys like Cedric Howard and Boozer and Edey and their future here. So I understand that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can understand it on like Memphis's perspective, but I don't understand this for Portland's perspective.
Inexplicable to me.
This feels like when the fucking Phoenix Suns had Isaiah Thomas, Eric Bledsoe, and Goran Dragic.
Dude, that's a throwback. That was a while ago.
But worse.
Yeah.
But worse, because now you have John Morant, Damian Lillard, Drew Holiday, Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson is still on this team. God damn it. Like,
no, yeah, what you got Dame coming back. I thought the idea was Dame was going to kind of be like the glorious homecoming to mentor Scoot and see if he can bring him along and kind of play the minutes if he can't. And, and then you had Drew who would play like a combo guard and do the same kind of deal.
Yeah, but I think he would fit well with Damian Lillard and Scoot.
Yeah, but now it's like, why are you going to just deal Scoot? Like at this point, does
at
Scoot
this
have
point,
any value? I don't know.
Yeah, because
Drew might have value. Maybe they're planning to deal Drew. There's no way they're planning to go to camp with.
I heard
four guards who are all okay. Even if you say Scoot can just be on the bench reserve list, 3 guards for sure who demand they need to be played, right? Like
we haven't even talked about we haven't even talked about Shaedon Sharpe,
right? Who's also a guard,
yeah. And then you have Denny Avdia, who wants
plays
to create.
Like a guard.
He plays like a guard.
He's bigger, but he's the one. He's the on-ball guy for them. They played.
Now they don't have a 4. Like, what are they gonna do? Run Dame, Ja, Drew, Denny, and Klingon?
Avdia is there 4 now? I don't know, man. They're really weird.
Denny Avdia is not a 4.
Like, I get getting off of. I mean, I'll present a devil's advocate. Let's see. We got on the screen here. What's Jeremy Grant's contract is $34 million, right? I think it runs for 2 more years, 3 more years, something like that. 2 more years. So
I'd have to look it up.
So 2 more years of Jeremy Grant. Till you look it up, let's just pretend. 2 more years at $34 million. Or do you want to pay $8 million more and take a shot at rehabilitating possibly a 26-year-old John Morant? From that perspective, if I play devil's advocate a little bit, yes, I think the asset, if you're Portland, it's better off taking a shot on maybe John Morant it's not just his athleticism isn't just shot after the injuries and everything, and that he's only 26, and maybe with his star potential cojones that he brings, and maybe he will reclaim some of that value, and I'd rather have Ja at 42 than a 32-year-old Jeremy Grant at 34. That's my devil's advocate. The only thing with that is that would assume then that I don't have 3 other fucking point guards on the roster,
Here's the thing. If they didn't bring back Damian Lillard last year and they didn't trade for Drew Holiday, then I'd say, okay, cool, take a flyer on John Morant because Scoot Henderson doesn't look like he might pan out. But that's not the case. So here's the thing. Even if you flip, because obviously Scoot Henderson is target number 1 to be traded, but also supposedly Drew Holiday is also available for trade. So let's devil's advocate, let just in the hypothetical here, they actually trade away Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson for some front court help, maybe some wings, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna sit here and tell me that John Morant and Damian Lillard is your backcourt?
Yeah, that's very strange.
That makes no sense.
Very, very strange.
That does not fit.
But you know what? They have control of their draft picks back now. Maybe they're just maybe they're okay with that 1 year showing in the playoffs, and they want to take a slower.
No, this is an owner trying to go ahead and let's John Morant's available. We just got to give up Jeremy Grant. Let's fucking do it.
You think this is ownership driven? I don't know. Tom Dundon doesn't strike me as an owner who's aware of who John Morant is. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe you're right. There is that new owner syndrome of wanting to make a splash right away.
There's been a lot of new owner syndrome this offseason, I feel like. Anyways, let's move on.
Again, what a perplexing deal.
We won't spend too much time on this. Miles Bridges got traded from the Charlotte Hornets for Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and a 2033 unprotected first. Phoenix in return got the least favorable of a top 5 protected Cleveland, Minnesota, Utah swap thingy, and a 2027 least favorable swap between Boston and Orlando
in the second round. So from the Hornets perspective, great. You're finally off of Miles Bridges, who was,
and you got a 2033 unprotected.
yeah, dude, you not only got off of Miles Bridges, who was kind of a detriment to your public perception for sure, let's say, with his off-court issues, and also like wasn't really fitting in that well around your young core. And you got it, like you said, you got a 2031 first round pick or 2033 first round pick, an unprotected first round pick, and a couple of vets who can play in Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal.
Well, here's the thing. They could easily just flip Royce O'Neal and have him be included in that LaMelo Ball trade. Because if I'm Minnesota, I'm trying to restructure this trade so that I pick up Royce O'Neal. Because if I'm Minnesota, I would love to have Royce O'Neal, considering I need front court help.
Yeah, you made that point. That's a great point, because obviously that deal is not finalized yet. So
it can't be finalized. But by the time, by the time this episode drops, it would be July 4th. So in like 2 days, the trade can be finalized. And then once it gets finalized, we'll have that full details of those trades. And it might be expanded into like a 5-team deal, because originally it was the Brooklyn Bulls and Timberwolves. And then you add the Hornets, so you can go ahead and add the LaMelo Ball trade in there. But now you can add this Miles Bridges trade as well with Phoenix, and anything else in between. You might be seeing like a 6-7 team trade before it's all said and done. Yeah. Last one here that I want to talk about real quickly. Isaiah Joe got picked up by the Detroit Pistons in return for 2 second-round picks, one in 2030 from Minnesota and one in 31 being their own. I love this.
Yeah, I love this. Great pickup for the Pistons. Badly needed shooting. Got a great shooter, who wasn't fitting into OKC's roster or cap. And, OKC was able to kind of dump some salary, and Detroit picked up a great player for virtually nothing.
Yeah,
a great player might be exaggerating it, but like a great shooter and a good fit for their roster.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we talked about the LaMelo Ball trade as well. Cam Jones was nothing. Trying to see what was the other trade that the Thunder did. I'm trying to.
I think you went too far. Are you thinking about? They sent Wiggins, Aaron Wiggins.
Yeah, they sent out Aaron Wiggins. Yes, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, dude, it's very interesting. I feel like we are literally just playing a NBA 2K simulation, like season mode, where the fucking computer is making random trades and you just control your one team and you're just watching all this craziness go down.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
that's just stuff that you were like, well, this isn't going to happen in real life. It's just happening in this game now.
Yeah,
just doing deals to make deals.
Yeah, no. Honestly, crazy offseason. Honestly, it might be the craziest offseason since.
And we're not even at an official signing time and official business, being able to go on the books time. So a lot more can still happen. This has been pretty nuts. I think.
Yeah.
If you think about the number of all-stars, people that were all-stars within the past 2 years, like who've changed teams now, I think this might be a record, dude. It's kind of crazy.
Honestly, it might be. And then like it's crazy because you see Kawhi Leonard, he gets sent back to Toronto. Julius Randle goes back to New York, but to Brooklyn. And then you see like Vucevic going back to
back to Orlando, right?
Back to Orlando.
I literally also only saw that while we were doing this podcast right now as I was scrolling through transactions. I had no idea he's back in Orlando. Good for him.
And then Kyle Lowry could theoretically return for a retirement run in Toronto. Like, even if he doesn't play, he could be like a guy on the bench, like a veteran guy, like Udonis Haslem. Like, I'm not saying he's washed or anything, but he's definitely someone that would be nice to have there. DeMar DeRozan apparently wants out of Sacramento and wants to be bought out or waived or traded or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean,
how ironic would it be if he comes back to Toronto as well? That'd be crazy.
To pair with Kawhi this time, no, that's even funnier.
Yeah.
But and Zach picked up his option in Sacramento, so they may be able to still kind of turn deals there. Who knows? James Harden is still floating out there. He's supposed to be able to like negotiate a new contract because he declined his player option and
So supposedly they're
done.
waiting. They're waiting until they can go ahead and figure out the rest of free agency and then handle James Harden, because I think they still have his bird rights, so they're able to go over the cap.
Yeah, but that's not a done deal yet. So there's no numbers.
No, it's not a done deal. And then I think the last thing we're going to talk about is the reason why the Lakers went crazy with all the trades and stuff like that is because LeBron James.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to this.
No, I saved this for last. LeBron James announced that to the LA Lakers that they can continue with their free agency without him. He has decided to continue playing his NBA career for at least one more season, but is now choosing to no longer play for the LA Lakers. From everything that I'm seeing, is that it's not about money with him, that he just wants to be happy and contend for a championship, and that money isn't an issue. So he's thrown it out there that he's available to all other 29 NBA franchises to give him their best pitch. He's just hanging out at the pool and letting Rich Paul go to work.
And the most popular options are, he gets to go back to either Miami to make another run where he won a title, or back home to Cleveland to make another run where he won a title, which would be an odd pairing alongside Harden and Mitchell, but still, you get it. I get it. And then there's the dark horse, Golden State possibility that's been rumored about for years. And a new contender, apparently the Philadelphia 76ers are going to pursue him also. It's
crazy. It's crazy to see. I honestly, I have no idea where LeBron James is going to go. I do think it's kind of funny though, and I do.
It's extremely funny. I mean, maybe he goes to Toronto. I don't know.
LeBronto actually becomes a thing.
Yeah, he already had LeBronto. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I like. Nothing feels perfect fit to him, so we'll see. I'm gonna give a quick rundown of like the big names that were signed already, and then like a little rundown of who is still available. Trae Young,
starting with Billy Donovan. Congratulations, getting a gig with San Antonio. Yeah. Oh wait, the lead assistant gig. So he's not even a head coach.
He's the lead assistant.
But, all right.
Those head coaching opportunities dried up real quick.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Trae Young stays with the Washington Wizards. He signed a 4-year, $212 million deal at an average about $53 million per year. Austin Reeves is a handshake deal, 4 years, $185, I believe, with roughly $46 per year. Walker Kessler, like we mentioned, $130 for 4 years. The fourth year being a player option, and he has a trade kicker in there. I would assume we talked about this already. 5 years, $112. Tyree Eason actually re-signed with the Houston Rockets for 5 years, $81.5 million at about $16 million per year. So good for him. Isaiah Hardenstein re-signed for 3 years, $75 million. Kobe White has re-signed for 3 years, $74. Quentin Grimes, Mamu have joined up with the Lakers at 4-year contracts as well. John Collins is going to the Detroit Pistons. I kind of like this. 3 years, $51 million.
Yeah,
not bad. Colin Gillespie staying with the Phoenix Suns at 4 years, $48 million. Mitchell Robinson, like we mentioned, he went ahead and signed with the Boston Celtics for 3 years, $47 million at an average of about 15. Really? Okay. Yeah. Like New York, you guys couldn't have given them that to like keep your championship core intact. James Dolan, ladies and gentlemen. I mentioned,
that was more of a management-driven move. I think because Dolan, I have many criticisms of James Dolan, but money has not been one of them. So I think that they actually strategically didn't want to be in the second apron.
Yeah,
they want to kick that can down the road. I disagree with that. When you just won the championship, you should have probably given that team one more run. But that's their strategic thinking. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah. Definitely. Norman Powell signed with the Chicago Bulls 2 years, $45 million with an average of $22.5 million with a team option in the second year So I kind of like this. It's not a bad deal. I don't think he fits the timeline, but I don't think it hurts the timeline either.
I will have more to say on this later.
Yeah, we will. Because when I sent this to you, you said "fuck."
Yeah.
One word. So we will unpack that in a Bulls specific episode.
That doesn't mean Norm's a bad player. This is a full criticism of the Bulls' strategy.
Yeah. Mark Williams with the Phoenix Suns staying 3 years, 38. Tobias Harris being picked up by the San Antonio Spurs, 2 years, $30.8 million. That's a really good pickup. I think he's the type of player that they were missing in the playoffs. Kevin Huerter stays with the Detroit Pistons, 3 years, 27. Landry Shamet resigns with the Knicks as well, 4 years, 24. Yusuf Nurkic is staying with the Utah Jazz at 2 years, 22. Day'Ron Sharpe with Brooklyn, 2 years, 20. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other big ones. Obviously, Al Horford's back, Jock Landale's back, Jose Alvarado's back. You mentioned Kelly Oubre.
Porzingis even, I think, re-upped with
Porzingis re-signed as well. Marcus Smart went from the Lakers to the Rockets. Luke Kennard left the Lakers to go to the Suns. Jackson Hayes
back with the Bulls for some reason.
Yeah, Zach Collins is back with the Bulls. Anthony Simons, we mentioned he left the Bulls to go to the Philadelphia 76ers. Jackson Hayes left the Lakers to go to the Jazz. Precious Achiuwa is staying in the Kings. DeAnthony Melton is staying with the Golden State Warriors. I'm trying to see what other big names. Harrison Barnes is staying with the San Antonio Spurs. Tim Hardaway Jr. signed with the Miami Heat. I kind of like that for them. I was actually expecting him to sign with them. We mentioned Bogdan Bogdanovic leaving the Clippers for the Rockets. Thomas Bryant re-signing with the Cavs. Javon Carter staying with the Magic. Marvin Bagley signed with the Denver Nuggets.
That's actually a good shot for Denver to have a backup behind Nikola Jokic, which they struggle with every single year. And Bagley was, solid. He seems to have embraced his role in Washington, like an energy big now. So I think, a positive shot for Denver to have a better backup for Nikola.
Yeah. Okay. So we're getting to like that 1 hour mark, if not already. I have to edit this, so we'll see exactly where we are at this point. We talked about LeBron James. He's the biggest free agent still available, I think. Where do you think he signs if you have to make a prediction? Just quickly,
I don't think I can predict anything now. This is all like so. Because
where would you like? Okay. If you were LeBron, where would you go?
I mean, sentimentality wise, I'm thinking he only has a year or two left. I'd go back to Cleveland.
Okay,
that's what I would say.
James Harden.
Going back to Miami, the fit around Giannis and Bam with LeBron isn't
the spacing's not there. The spacing's
not there, and both Giannis and LeBron thrive by having the ball in their hands, attacking downhill. Now, granted, LeBron showed a lot of a good willingness to move off of the ball last year around Luka and Reeves, but it's just not sure that fit again with the spacing, like you mentioned, is there in Miami, and otherwise. That Philly option seems pretty funny. I don't know. That could
supposedly the Knicks are monitoring the LeBron James situation.
Finally, LeBron to New York finally happens.
Yeah, that I wouldn't be mad at, but
the Golden State thing also doesn't really make sense to me.
But here's the thing. I called them the Expendables. Because if they were able to flip Jimmy Butler for Anthony Davis, and then you have Davis, Draymond, LeBron, and Steph Curry.
Yeah,
I just for the fucking vibes. I
think it would be even funnier though if they had LeBron there while keeping Jimmy, and Jimmy makes his return from his ACL tear at some point later in the year.
That's true.
That would be so much fun. That would just
honestly they could do it. They could do it if he comes back and Jimmy Butler is still playing well. You're gonna have a starting lineup of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Draymond Green, and Kristaps Porzingis. With Yaxel Lendenberg off the bench.
Yeah, Yaxel and Horford, yeah.
And Horford and DeAnthony Melton. I think they still got Seth. I'm not sure. But then you have James Harden. I think he stays with maybe like a 2 or 3 year deal with the Cavaliers, personally.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we'll see. It'll be I will say this. This is like the decision part Partre or whatever is going to be very interesting. This is going to be a fun one to actually watch. And it's not, unlike previous LeBron James free agencies, this one isn't going to hold up the business of the NBA. So
yeah, which is good, honestly. The next guy here on Spoiltrack's list, Chris Middleton. I think he's going to the Miami Heat, honestly.
He should just pair up with Giannis one more time. Jonathan Kuminga is still floating out there too.
Yeah, that's name number 4, Jonathan Kuminga. He's out there. I'm not really sure where he might go, honestly.
He should have taken that deal the Warriors were offering him, man.
Yeah. Maybe the Lakers? Would the Lakers sign Jonathan Kuminga?
I guess. I don't know. I was going to say awkward fit, but does it matter at this point? It doesn't seem to matter.
No, I don't think so. But like I said, the Atlanta Hawks declined Jonathan Kuminga's team option. So I have no idea where he might go. Maybe the Kings.
I think
maybe
Rui is a better free agent option than
Yes. So supposedly I'm hearing the Cavs, Pelicans, Mavericks, the Bucks. I don't fucking know. I don't know where Jonathan Kuminga goes, to be honest with you. Portland needs us power forward.
That's right. Portland does need power forward help
now. Draymond Green, I think he's staying in Golden State. I think he's a lifer.
Yeah, he did that too. Kind of.
Rui Hachimura. If I'm Portland, I'm trying to see what I can do to get him.
Yeah.
I like Rui Hachimura. If I'm Philadelphia, I'm looking at Rui Hachimura.
Thinking that because Philly, when you mentioned front court help, like Philly still needs power forward help. So Rui would be probably a good option there. I mean, heck, maybe in Golden State, depending on how much money Rui gets. Like, I don't know. It just depends because there's not that much money floating out there anymore. So yeah.
And then you have restricted free agent Jaylen Brown. I think at this point his entire market dried up, unless there's like a sign and trade 3-team situation where Jaylen Brown is signed and traded to the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings trade Domantas Sabonis to another team, and then that other team sends Detroit something.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I think at this point Dern is going to have to suck it up and work out a contract with the Pistons, and hopefully they'll get beyond whatever.
What about Duran to Sacramento, Domantas Sabonis to Portland, and Drew Holiday to Detroit?
I don't think that makes sense for anyone, honestly. While Detroit could use Drew, they need a center still. It doesn't. And Sabonis doesn't make sense in Portland. I don't see it. I think Duran goes back to the Pistons.
Yeah, I think at this point he's that's probably it. Looking at the rest, Benedict Mathurin, I think he comes back with the Clippers. Nicholas Batum, I think, is somebody I would want the Bulls to try to target.
I would have if they hadn't already re-upped on, I don't know, so many players. And being a front court player, I don't know. He's very particular. He only really wanted to keep coming back to LA. Be by his family.
Yeah. Bradley Beal, I think he might be a candidate to sign with the Miami Heat. I don't know what he's going to give you.
I mean, Mathurin is somebody I think the Bulls might.
Benedict Mathurin, but they've already used their cap.
You kind of need shooting guard, help. So
they already did that.
It could be worth a shot because that could be somebody you could flip. So
Gary Trent Jr. is out there.
Did he not re-up with Milwaukee?
No, not yet. Not yet. No, he's still available.
Okay. It was the other Gary. It must have been Gary Harris.
No, I don't think so either. But yeah, man, I think that's everything. Crazy offseason for sure so far. Before we sign out, who you think is the next player that gets traded, dude? If you had to make a prediction, who's next?
That is a great question. I'm still having trouble wrapping my mind around everybody who already has been traded. I only know who I think the Bulls should be offering up Trey Jones to Denver, reunite him with his brother, and or something like that, or another team that needs point guard help, whether that's Detroit or Toronto or whoever.
Detroit, Toronto,
Miami, yeah,
Memphis.
And Memphis doesn't really need, like, maybe they do to help their young players develop.
Yeah.
I think they're good with Scottie Pippen Jr. I don't know, man. It's I think there is a sign and trade possibility for a couple of players, but also, like, I think guys like Kuminga are probably going to end up in a place, if they're willing to accept a contract that makes them tradable. So, like, a reclamation project type of contract. So that's what I kind of foresee for guys like Jonathan Kuminga or guys like Rui Hachimura. Again, there are fits for them on potential contenders that you think should take a shot at them, like Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think next time what we're gonna do when we talk about NBA, we're gonna have to try to see what's next for some of these teams and kind of figure that out, and then do a little power ranking. I like to power rank the teams. Like once free agency is over and we have and training camp starts, we'll have a better idea of who's going where, who's going to be on what team, and what the final rosters may look like, and we could do a little power ranking. I like doing that as well. In the meantime, the next basketball content you can expect from us is we're gonna fully unpack the Chicago Bulls. We
podcast, yes.
We delayed it, we pushed it back for obvious reasons. Now we're able to talk about the draft, talk about free agency, and whether other moves they can do, because I think they're not done. I think there's still like a Max Strus trade out there. I think they might still do that just so that the Cavs can save some more money. Which I wouldn't mind it. Rob Dillingham, a couple second rounds that they have hoarded up for Max Strus. I wouldn't be mad.
We'll see.
You might get those second round picks back when you trade Norman Powell at the deadline.
Yeah. We'll see about that.
Bosh, where can everybody find you, man?
You can find me melting down in the streets of Chicago in this horrible heat, and also on Blue Sky at systemlords.bsky.social. Hit me up. Let's talk about X-Men 97. I did all this prep work. We never get to talk about
it. I haven't watched actually the first season. I got to get to it.
Show rules, man. Get on that, everybody. Watch X-Men 97.
I feel like I have to binge the OG X-Men and then
definitely don't. Just watch X-Men 97. You definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. You saved me the time on it. But yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and talk Chicago Bulls next time we talk basketball, and then we'll also we're getting close to Brand New Day, so we're going to be talking about Brand New Day. I'm excited to watch that and review it. And Spider-Man Noir, it's coming. I know I mentioned it like 20 episodes ago, but Spider-Man Noir is coming. I promise it's coming.
We'll have summer content as NBA stuff is winding down.
For sure. All right. You can follow me at SESvince on all the social medias. We can talk over there, basketball on Twitter or everywhere else in between. You can follow the show at 606 Universe. Spell out the first 6 on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter. No TikTok, no Blue Sky. We'll get on that. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. We're available every single Saturday at 606 Universe, at Wallet Media Inc. on YouTube as well. 606 Saturdays is a thing. We're going to be bringing you more content there. We love working with the guys, and we're going to have to do like a Raptors report. Like, we're doing a Bull-centric episode. We got to do a Raptors report.
Especially with this. We were already planning to do after the draft, and now even more so.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing we're going to be doing, especially for the Wallop media side of things. We got to get Rylan. We got to get Kyle in here. And like between the four of us, we're going to get our GM hats on and like figure out how you finish this roster. And we each do a proposal of what trades you would make, what signings you would make to go ahead and finish this team. Because I don't think the team's finished. But I'm very excited for the Raptors. I'm very excited for the 76ers. I'm very excited for my Chicago Bulls, regardless of what they've done. I think it's going to be a very fun episode because Bosch has one perspective. I have a different perspective, and that's kind of our dynamic. For SESvince and Basharat, this has been the 606. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Later, y'all.
Peace.